Stay tuned for the Splash Live. It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the Greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Kevin McIntosh. Getting to our top story for today, major road work is coming to Orchard Lake Road, and our daily routes and routines will be affected. So here to give us more, live on location, is Civic Center TV's very own reporter, Jake Schaff.
Hey, Kevin, good morning. I'm standing here live alongside of Orchard Lake Road, just outside of West Bloomfield High School, where, yes, as you said, a major road improvement project is set to begin right here on Orchard Lake Road from Willow Way Lane to Long Lake Road. You can take a look behind me right here. You can see a bunch of cones are already lined up alongside both sides of the road. That is just the beginning. Starting April 28th, crews will be milling and resurfacing the roadway, upgrading sidewalks and streetlights, adding brand new curbs, and installing ADA-compliant crosswalks. Quite a lot of work that's going to be taking place right here on Orchard Lake Road, and the work is expected to run all the way through August of next year, 2026.
Wow.
Now, there won't be a full detour, thankfully, but one lane will be staying open in each direction. But drivers can expect some delays with traffic flaggers managing flow during peak construction times. So if it's at all possible, once things start to pick up quite a bit, you might want to consider an alternate route to possibly get to work or wherever you need to go. So that's what we can expect very, very soon with Orchard Lake Road. And it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to go, like I said, it's going to go all the way to August of next year, but it's all going to be worth it, Kevin.
Yeah, man, August of 2026, I don't think I was expecting it to take that long to do some resurfacing, but they're fixing the sidewalk, so it looks like it's a pretty large project in general. So appreciate that information, and thank you again for being out there on the scene again, Jake.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kevin.
Appreciate that. And we'll continue to have more information regarding that and other different detours and road constructions that may affect your daily routes. West Bloomfield Middle School orchestra students hit all the right notes on Saturday, April 12th, as they represented the district at the MSBOA District Solo and Ensemble Festival. It was held at Novi Middle School. These talented young musicians, if you're watching on Civic Center TV, they performed solos and small ensemble pieces in front of expert judges, receiving both ratings and constructive feedback. Every West Bloomfield Middle School student earned a medal for their performance, with 22 events earning a top first division rating and 12 others securing second division honors. Congratulations to all the students for their professionalism, hard work, and musical growth. You've definitely made West Bloomfield proud. Big changes are underway at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. With a new roof, refreshed ceilings, and a comfort room for families, these improvements are all about enhancing the visitor experience. I actually had a chance to stop by to check out the renovations myself and see how they're making the library even more welcoming for our community?
So with the library ceiling and roof, our main library here is reaching about 25 years old this year. So as to be expected, we've got some changes that we need to make in order to make sure we're preventing leaks and other issues that might close down the building for longer than we expect. So this is preventative maintenance, and we're going through and just updating pieces to make sure the library stays looking fresh.
The biggest thing is this roof has been, original to the rebuilt building in 2000, and we've dealt with leaks for the last couple of years. We've always done like a maintenance program to try and keep it in good shape, but it was just past its prime, and it's, the public doesn't want to see buckets out collecting water, and then we're risking our collection. We have had some leaks on books and things like that over the years, and so we're just trying to get the building all sealed up and safe for the next 25 years.
Beyond infrastructure upgrades, the library is also enhancing visitor experience with new spaces designed for comfort and accessibility. The Reflection Room, funded by a generous donation, is now open for quiet contemplation. And a Comfort Room is currently under construction to support families and sensory-friendly needs.
The Comfort Room is a lactation space and a sensory space for families. So we've had a lot of requests over the years from families who want a lactation space, someplace where they can go for mothers who might be pumping or breastfeeding that's a little more private. And so this room is a solution. We've taken a while to try to find a good space that would work for those purposes, like our Reflection Room, which is newer but more for adults. And this space will be more kid-oriented, a little more private as well.
As the library continues to evolve, these renovations reflect a commitment to serving the community with modern, welcoming spaces. Library leaders say these updates will help create a more inclusive and engaging environment for everyone.
The world's changing so fast, and the things that people expect change as well. Maybe the library seen as a traditional space. And so like our challenge has been to kind of balance our traditional services like programming, early literacy, and having collections, but also try and accommodate like the way that people study. Our meeting rooms are always booked because of that. And I think that's just going to increase more as people go to school remotely and work remotely, and their needs change. So we just have to meet them where they are.
And as you heard from the staff themselves, these upgrades reflect the library's ongoing commitment to serving the Greater West Bloomfield residents. To see the transformation yourself, visit the main library of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. The Greater West Bloomfield Annual Michigan Community Week Awards Breakfast honors volunteers who give their time, talent, and personal resources on a frequent basis. The theme for the 53rd annual Greater West Bloomfield event is Say Yes to Volunteering in Michigan. Here to tell us a little bit more about this event and actually how it comes together is Michigan Week Committee Chairperson Kathy Russ. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's very exciting to be on the show.
I bet it is exciting to be in the chairperson position for this event as well. And I want to ask you about that. If I'm not mistaken, first time chairing a major township event like this, what has the experience been like for you so far?
So it is my first time being the chair of Michigan Week and this major township event, as you said. But lucky for me, I'm not a stranger to chairing events. I was the conference chair for the Michigan Library Association conference a few years back, and that was for about 3,000 people. And I've also chaired the Michigan Library Association's awards committee for several years. So happily, I have event planning experience, but for to be part of the Michigan Week committee, it's been really great because I've gotten to work with such wonderful, amazing people who I can't even tell you, like the spirit of the volunteers who work on this event is so inspiring because everybody really cares. I've been on the committee for 4 years, but I've never chaired. So to be able to lead the committee has been great. It's been very rewarding.
I bet. Oh, wow. So I went to the event last year. Such a great experience, a lot of great energy in there. And it's great to just recognize people who take their time and resources, like we said earlier, just to help out the community. So how have you and your team been working to make this year's event different from the previous celebrations?
That's a good question. It's funny because I think it's the celebration itself doesn't change in that, we have the breakfast, we confer the awards. Everybody is very excited and happy to be there. But I think what makes it each year is unique because of the people. The award recipients change every year. And I think that's a tribute to this community that it isn't the same people getting these awards over and over and over again. It's different people every year, which means there's such an array of people in this community volunteering and doing wonderful things. So I think the people make it unique. And I also think that the theme this year, which is Say Yes to Volunteering in Michigan, one of the things I thought of when I, was able to be chair was that it's called Michigan Week. So we should celebrate Michigan too. And so we kind of did the theme as the takeoff on the old Say Yes to Michigan theme. And I wanted to share in that vein, Emily Tobin on the library staff did the centerpiece, which the blue marbles stones are the lakes, and then we have cherry blossoms or apple blossoms, and then she's going to put a mitten in each one too. So it's all going to be Michigan based.
Oh, okay. So a lot of thought going into different aspects of it. And I loved how you just said it. What makes it unique is the fact that we're celebrating and honoring different people almost every year. So that speaks a lot to the residents of our community. With that being said, for the people who may have never been to one, can you give us an overview of what's planned for the Michigan Week festivities?
Sure. So if I may too, I also want to let people know that registration is open through midnight tomorrow night. So if people would like to attend, we would love to have them, but registration closes at midnight tomorrow. So please register now and bring a friend. So what happens is our venue is Temple Israel, which is a magnificent space, and especially when to have this event. It holds 300 people. So we can have a lot of people, and our honorees, our award recipients can bring guests and bring family members or friends or people to cheer them on, which is great. It's nice to be able to hold it in a space that will allow us to do that. The breakfast starts at 7.
Okay.
And I think we are celebrating an important big anniversary for Michigan Digital as well at the breakfast, and then we'll have some speeches and confer the awards, and but not too many. We have some speeches, and I don't want people to think it's like all speeches, because sometimes that's not everybody's cup of tea. But the speeches are always heartwarming, always inspiring. So we pass out the awards. We eat a lovely breakfast. And I should also mention that there are vegetarian, gluten-free, kosher options available. So I don't want anybody to feel like they wouldn't be able to attend because they wouldn't be able to eat the food. Right. And then we have everybody, we've made a commitment to have everybody on their way by 9 o'clock because we do have a lot of people who work for the schools or people who are going to their jobs, and we don't want to hold them up. We want to make the best use of everybody's time, but we still want to have a wonderful celebration. And it's on a Friday, so it's a nice way to start your Friday. You coast into work and have just this great spirit, takes you through the rest of the day, and then on you go into the weekend.
Oh yeah, no, trust me. Going last year, it's early. You get a good breakfast, good vibes from everybody. Then you just start the rest of your day going into the weekend. It is a great way to do that. And once again, joining me right here live on The Splash, Michigan Week Committee Chairperson Kathy Russ, talking about the festivities leading up to Michigan Week, Friday, May 9th as well, and just putting the event together all together. There are many different award winners that's being recognized during this event, right? So have they already been informed of their wins? How does that work?
Sure. So what we do is the people who nominate their candidates for the awards, we have them let their nominees know that they're receiving awards, because that's exciting. And that way the person who's receiving the award knows who nominated them. And it's like a mini celebration on their part. We follow up with a notification to the person to let them know officially that they're receiving an award. Right. But we like to let the nominators have that fun. So we have an awards committee that goes through all of the nominations, and then they make their selections. We let the nominators inform the award recipients, and then there's a lot of behind the scenes work from the committee. We order the awards, the medallions, the signs. You can see a sign behind me that goes to everybody who's receiving an award. So we have all that in process right now, and then then we have our big day.
Yes, yes. Oh, so since we're telling some of the people, the nominees in advance, what has been some of their reactions to it?
So I haven't because the nominators get to tell them. I don't know what everybody has responded, but I know that I have had some feedback, or some people have gotten in touch with me, and everybody is so excited. And there are some people, it's so humbling and so gratifying, because there are some people who are just not believing that they're receiving an award. And it's like, well, yeah, you're receiving an award. You did a wonderful job, or you've contributed so much. So everybody, I think, is excited, in some cases very grateful, surprised. And it's just to be the person who gets to be part of that is really rewarding.
To look at the bigger picture of this event and the purpose of it, I want people to understand the full scope of the honorees. So can you just talk about the kind of impact that these honorees typically have on the community to be recognized?
Sure. So I think if I could break it down, I'd say that there are a couple of major themes to these awards. One is leadership, and there are youth leadership awards, and it's so marvelous to see what these young people are doing in their schools and their communities. So we recognize leaders, emerging leaders from schools, these young people who are doing amazing things. But then we have our leadership awards for people who have contributed to the community for a longer period of time. Our Jeff Lee Lifetime Leadership Award, for example, and then of course the Gretschko Award for an individual and then for an organization. So leadership is a big part of this event. But I think the other thing is again, the volunteerism awards. Each community organization has the opportunity to nominate a volunteer of the year. So for example, the Friends of the Library, who I work with very closely, are able to nominate someone from their organization. So to see all of the community organizations and the people who make them work be recognized for the work that they do is just a key part of this event as well. So it's for everybody, it's about everybody, and it shows really so much that goes on in West Bloomfield. Like, what a great place West Bloomfield is to be, because so many people contribute to the success.
Yes, yeah, I would agree with that too. It just talks about the greatness of the everyday residents right here in our own backyard. With me right here, live on the Splash, by the way, Michigan Week Committee Chairperson Kathy Russ, talking about the Michigan Week events leading up to Friday, May 9th, and just the work that it takes to build this actual event and put it together. What do you hope attendees take away from this year's festivities?
I hope, so every year, when I leave, I always feel really happy, really inspired, really positive. And I hope that they feel that way too. I hope that they see and appreciate all the contributions that their neighbors are making. I hope potentially that people are inspired to volunteer and to get involved in a cause that's dear to their heart. I'm sure whatever cause is dear to their heart, there's an organization that will help them be part of it in West Bloomfield and to make a difference. And I think the other thing is too, one of the things that I appreciate so much is the kids. You see these marvelous young people receiving these awards, and it gives me hope for the future. And I think we need to support our young people and encourage them in the work that they do to keep them going, because I think it's hard sometimes to be a young person in today's world.
Yeah. Set the example as the older generation, as leaders, role models. Just show them and bring them to these type of things, and just show them that we're doing and what it takes to actually have a great and safe community that we have here in Greater West Bloomfield. I love to hear it. So lastly, before I let you go, any additional goals, visions that you have for the future of Michigan Week under your leadership?
Well, my leadership, I was chair for this year. We'll see what the committee wants to do next year.
Okay.
I think it's a tremendous event, and it's, I think, unique in Michigan, because I think West Bloomfield is the last community that celebrates this sort of thing, at least in the way that we do it. So, to keep that going and to continue to celebrate. Kind of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if there are any tweaks that we can do to make it better, I certainly want to do that. And everybody come out, have a wonderful time, and celebrate this tremendous community.
And lastly, for anybody who just joined us, the where, when, and why of the event again, please, details.
Yes. Thank you. Friday, May 9th, 7 a.m. at Temple Israel on Walnut Lake Road, just west of the library. And if you want to purchase tickets, www.michiganweek.org. That's probably best to do it online now because registration closes tomorrow night at midnight.
All right, and it also will be broadcast live right here at Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you so much again for your time. Once again, Michigan Week Committee Chairperson, Kathy Russ. We appreciate it.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. Take care. See you there.
Thank you. Absolutely. We'll be there as well. And you can see the events and activities for Michigan Week on Facebook. Follow them on Facebook at GWBMW, as in Greater West Bloomfield Michigan Week, just the abbreviations. The Road to Detroit Group Run is coming back to West Bloomfield, giving community runners an opportunity to prepare for the #1 marathon in the entire country, by the way. We spoke with Jeff McBain from the Detroit Free Press Marathon Customer Service Team, who tells us about how the group run helps build momentum for the marathon and why they came to West Bloomfield in the first place. First and foremost, congratulations on being voted #1, the Detroit Free Press Marathon. With that being said, why do you think, what elements do you think went into effect for the Detroit Free Press Marathon to be voted #1 in the country?
A couple things that really stand out for our race compared to other events is we're able to go from the United States to Canada over the Ambassador Bridge, which gets amazing views, and with the sunrise over the Detroit River, you're able to see that as you cross over into Canada, as well as the world's only underwater international mile when you go from Canada back to the United States under the Windsor Tunnel. As well as the crowd support and the activities, everything leading up to race weekend that we have going on. We try to make it as accessible and as fun and exciting for everybody involved.
I'm going to tell you something, Jeff. I saw those pictures from the marathon, and I saw going across. I said, is that the Ambassador Bridge? Yes, they are running on the Ambassador Bridge. Not too many other markets can offer that, Jeff. So I agree. That makes us extremely unique, and I love that. All right, so I'm not 100% on this. I believe a marathon is 26.1 miles, correct?
Close, 26.2 miles.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Close.
Adding a little bit more to it. So with that being said, that's a lot of running, a lot of mileage to cover. So I understand the training or running groups that you all have. Can you explain how hosting a group run in West Bloomfield contributes to building momentum for the Detroit Free Press Marathon?
Sure. We have the Road to Detroit group runs, which is an all-encompassing group run where people of all paces and abilities are able to come out and participate. We make sure that everybody knows at least somebody in the group run so that they can partner up if they haven't been with a group run or wanted to participate with a group for running experiences. This is a great opportunity. We like the West Bloomfield area for one of our group runs because it's got the Pontiac Trail, which is an amazing spot for people to go on and run, and it's not on a busy street or in a subdivision. And it's also in such an area where we can get people coming from all different parts of the West Bloomfield surrounding areas to come into West Bloomfield, join the group run, and be able to experience the magnificent Pontiac Trail.
See, okay, so I'm glad you said that, right? Because that was going to be my next question, asking why even choose the suburban areas of Metro Detroit for the training rather than running in the actual city? I would think that would make sense, but I'm going to be an advocate for our own trails and our own parks right here. I think they're beautiful, so I'm just going to leave it at that. I can agree with that as well. So let me ask you, this being like a training series or something like that, and I know this isn't the first time that you all have had this event. What kind of impact have you seen these community runs have on newer runners or those just getting into the marathon training in general?
Sure. A lot of people that come out to the group runs are able to meet people that are also going through training with them. So they're able to experience the same the successes and struggles or achievements along the way. And a lot of friendships are able to be formed as part of these group runs. The group runs also give an opportunity for people to ask questions because all of our group runs are hosted by ambassadors. They're able to ask questions about the race, anything regarding things anywhere from like fueling or water stations or just trying to help give more of a better sense of calm for those participating in the event for the first time. So it's definitely a really fun opportunity for people to come out and join.
Yes, man. Oh, man. I think it's very beneficial for people who are, enthusiasts of running, especially running outside. And like you said, if you do want to prepare for that marathon, I think this is a great way to do that. With me right here live on the Splash, by the way, from the Detroit Free Press Marathon customer service team, we have Mr. Jeff McBain talking about the Road to Detroit Free Press Marathon training group run happening in West Bloomfield, the West Bloomfield Trail, as a matter of fact. We're getting to more details regarding that very, very soon. But I want to ask you, just to encourage people, for someone in West Bloomfield who's never running a marathon or even a half a marathon, what would be your message to encourage them to come out and try a group run like this?
If somebody is brand new to group runs, brand new to half marathons or marathons, that can be very intimidating. The way that we structure the group runs is we try to make it so that it's not intimidating. We try to make it more of a fun social event so that way we can cover miles, because at the end of the day, 1 mile is 1 mile, 1 kilometer is 1 kilometer. It doesn't matter the pace. We want to be able to make that connection so that people can maybe form friendships to join up later on during the week, and they can run together. Not necessarily an actual sponsored event from the Detroit Marathon, but some people meet up and they like each other and they're able to go and run with themselves. But it's very, very much just trying to get people out there and get people moving. We don't have people, we try not to have people run by themselves.
Okay.
We try to partner them up. There's usually a group. We make sure the ambassadors that are running the group run are also there to make sure everybody's accounted for from start to finish, so that if somebody gets lost or injured along the way, we know that something has happened. So it's not, you're never completely alone. And we try to help you out as much as possible.
I like that too. It's a safety factor into that, as well as just a social factor, so it makes sense. Hey, Jeff, man, don't want to hold up too much of your time. Want to let you go, but I appreciate you. Lastly, the most important information: who, what, where, when, and why of the actual event for people who are interested, please.
Sure. We've got our West Bloomfield Trail Run coming up next Saturday at 8 a.m. We are going to be meeting at the CVS location at 4295 Orchard Lake Road. Our ambassador this year that's going to be hosting the group run is Courtney Chase. We're going to be able to get out there. Group run starts at 8 a.m. We're going to be going out. You can run more distance than what is planned, or you can just run whatever you're able to run. It's going to be an out and back course, so please come out and enjoy the scenery, the beautiful Pontiac Trail, ask questions about the race, and don't feel intimidated if it's your first time going out for a group run. We do welcome everybody of all paces and abilities.
There it is. And I think Courtney Chase is the perfect name for somebody reading the Road to Detroit group run in West Bloomfield. Once again, from the Detroit Free Press Marathon customer service team, Mr. Jeff McBain, we appreciate your time, sir.
Yep, thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Saturday, April 19th, 8 a.m. They will be at the CVS in West Bloomfield on Orchard Lake Road. If you have any interest, I'm actually hoping to see you out there. I will be out there as well. We will have a story produced after the event on CivicCenterTV.com. Are you looking to be an instructor for stand-up paddleboarding in our community? West Bloomfield's very own paddleboarding pro will lead elite Flatwater 1 and SUP yoga certification, stand-up paddleboarding yoga certifications through the Professional Stand-Up Paddle Association. Beyond teaching paddle skills, you'll learn business guidance to help you and local entrepreneurs alike launch safe and sustainable stand-up paddleboarding classes. We spoke with Misty Markham, owner of Luna Moon SUP, to tell us more about this unique opportunity. I see that we have this this certification class. I want to talk about that, but before we do, let's add some context, right? So many beautiful lakes right here in our Greater West Bloomfield area. I want you to tell us what makes our community a special place for people to learn and just practice paddleboarding safety.
Absolutely, because there are so many lakes and a ton of places to go and enjoy them, including our even bigger Great Lakes. And, you know, what's more important than knowing what to do in an emergency situation, or just to be able to teach like your other friends and that kind of thing. The training is pretty intense, I will say, even if you decide to do just the Flatwater 1 portion of it. And, there's anything can happen at any moment, right? And we're just trying to, even if you weren't interested in getting a full certification certificate, let's say, that weekend I am providing at least the fundamentals for people to join, and that may mean that they already have some paddle experience being out on our waters, but want to take it a little bit further and making sure that they're doing it safely and wisely.
Oh yeah, anytime we're around water, we want safety first and foremost, and then the fun can come after that. So, okay, so that sounds good. So let's get into your inspiration, right? What inspired you to become a Professional Stand-Up Paddle Association certified instructor?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And, you know, I've always loved the water. I've been a water kid my whole life, but, you know, with safety, with all the fun, just like you said, not to take all the fun out of it, there's still, you know, a water safety portion of it. And the manual is pretty thick. It's intense book. So not only are you learning to perfect your paddle or to do it correctly and then to teach others as well, back to the water safety portion, just rescue techniques, learning hands-on, getting real-time feedback and being able to practice on one another. It's pretty vital, and it's what a great way to do it in the summer when it starts to get pretty hot. Last year was pretty warm, and we were happily to get in the water and start practicing those techniques on each other.
There you go. Okay. So that kind of leads me into my next inquiry. Why did you decide to want to teach others how to be instructors like yourself?
Yeah, well, you know, it's funny because we do so much stuff online now. And even back when I was doing my own research as well, there were some YouTube videos starting to come out so that you could get an idea. I searched a lot of times for someone or anybody to answer a lot of questions about even just gear. Do I have the right board? Am I setting this up right? Maybe my paddle even, that kind of thing. And you can only learn so much online. And when I did my research and I found where I wanted to go, I had to go all the way to San Diego with a board, a GoPro, and a notebook. And, you know, I came home with a ton of information, some great contacts of people who wanted to be in the sport just as much as I did. And it's just having respect for the sport and just learning, you know, more intensely.
There it is. So bringing more people into, giving away the secret sauce, essentially, but we're doing it for a great cause. I love that. With me right here live on The Splash, by the way, owner of Luna Moon SUP stand-up paddleboarding, Misty Markham, talking about her new certification classes for you to be a Professional Stand-Up Paddle Association certified trainer right here in our Greater West Bloomfield waters, of course. So let's talk about the training, of course. So you talked about the seriousness of the safety. You talked about how thick the book is. That seems very, very serious, but it is necessary. So how do you balance the training, the fun part of the training, paddleboarding, with the water safety and emergency preparedness?
Absolutely. Like I was saying about having that serious part of it, but taking it on the water and just practicing on each other and having fun with it. You know, I've watched other videos as well where they're doing the same training. There's a flip technique, so you get in the water and you flip the board. And you're trying to get maybe the victim back on. Maybe they're conscious or unconscious, and it does become a little fun while you're still practicing those serious techniques. You may discover some things, you know, like, oh, wow, my watch got in the way while I was trying to do the flip rescue because you're reaching for each other's wrist, right? The other thing, too, is just even setting up your gear and the paddle, like I said, holding it and then the proper technique and, you know, being 101 in front of people, you know, you still have fun with that no matter what. You know, you bring up a scenario like, okay, what if? Right? And you look out at the water and you try to paint a little picture of maybe a little wind coming from this direction. Now we watched over there and the wind changed. So what are we going to do? And how do we prepare for those types of scenarios on the water?
Okay. Yeah. It's being alert to your environment. Like you say, if everything is good and steady and we're checking everything out and it works, then go ahead and have your fun. But essentially, like you said, just be aware of your environment and all the different situations that could factor into water safety and emergency preparedness. So great for the context right there. I want you to explain this. If I'm not mistaken, there's two different certifications or classes that you're doing. You're doing the Flatwater 1 and then the yoga, SUP yoga. Can you talk about this? Am I getting that correct?
Yeah, exactly. Flatwater 1 technically is going to be all of those things I just mentioned about learning the gear all the way down to holding your paddle, proper technique, how to teach others, and then the water safety part and practicing on each other. Once you kind of have all that down and you want to take it a little bit further, the sub yoga portion is like part 2, essentially. You still have to have some requirements in there as well, like your 200-hour training on land and just being able to lead each other with poses, because now we're adding the water element. And again, back to our fun part where we, you know, teach someone these poses and technique on a paddleboard that's wobbly in the water. And so yeah, it is a part 2, like I said.
Oh my goodness. When I saw that, I said, am I reading this right? We're talking about yoga on a paddleboard in the middle of the lake. Can you just talk about that experience in general for people that may have done it, like doing it for the first time? What is that like? Yoga on a paddleboard on a lake.
It is so much fun. I mean, really, you've just taken away the 4 walls of being like in a studio. The boards I have they are pretty, they're inflatables. They sit pretty high off the water, probably about 3.5 inches off the water. So you're not sitting right in it. But it is a soft space for your knees and hands, and you know, and in my scenario, I have a pod, so they all connect around this pod, and we become this floating studio. And it's nice because what is a little more challenging on the water, you know, it seems easy on land, and people applaud each other and say that was great, you know. And then you'll have somebody else who wants to take it a little bit further and go into headstands. And it's all just situational. It's open for any age, any type, you know, as long as you just have an open mind about it.
Now, if somebody's doing a headstand on a paddleboard in water, you are way too advanced for me, and I love to see it, to be honest with you. With me right here live on the Splash, by the way, owner of Luna Moon, stand-up paddleboarding. We have Misty Markham talking about her new certification classes for flat water training and stand-up paddle yoga training as well. Very, very interesting courses and activities in general. Can we just talk about, I guess, the why someone should sign up for this? What ways do you see this training benefiting the Greater West Bloomfield community, either from a wellness or a small business perspective?
Yes. Now, the certification itself, I mean, that's going to be a more intense type of person maybe that would want to know all the details, every single bit of it. And then, of course, yoga is going a little bit further. You know, you might want to do maybe Flatwater 1 first before you did yoga. And you may just want to stick with Flatwater 1, and that's just as fine. But this year, I am offering on Saturday just a portion for people who want to be more like in the fundamentals. So maybe it's not a full certification, that's a lot of commitment and time, I understand, and you may want to ease into that. So this is like a little bit of a level where you're getting a little bit of a taste. And like I said, not to receive a paper certification or anything like that, but to show up and hey, be with the trainees and see what it's like and still walk away with a piece of knowledge on having a more of a proper paddle technique, water safety, obviously another issue, and then just maybe to teach like some of the, because we live around so many lakes, teach, their neighbors or friends or their family that wanted to try it, but are still having a lot of trouble and they're not really sure why. I mean, you'd be surprised how many people can just stand on it backwards and they didn't realize they're on it backwards.
Right? That would be me right there. I don't even know which way it is. That's interesting. Okay, I don't want to hold you up too much more, Misty. I appreciate your time. Lastly, any advice for someone watching or listening who may be interested in the SUP instructing, but maybe not even 100% sure? What would you tell them?
I would say reach out to me. I mean, I have a lot of experience, a lot of resources, and it just, a simple call, visit my website, lunamoonsupyoga.com, and we can talk about certain things. Everybody is at different levels and have different questions and needs, so I just try to be flexible.
Yeah, be flexible and be open-minded as well. And we appreciate you. Can't wait for the weather to officially break so we can get out there on that water. Once again, owner of Luna Moon, stand-up paddleboarding, Misty Markham, thank you again.
Thank you. I truly appreciate it.
Regarding the classes, visit her on Facebook at Luna Moon SUP and her website at lunamoonsupyoga.com. A lot of residents here in Greater West Bloomfield are advocates for reading, and we also have some residents who are advocates for gardening and plants. But how do you fuse your love for reading and gardening? We're going to find out. But first, we are live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live.
I'm Jeff Crocker, Associate Library Director of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, and this is Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
I get around primarily by bicycle. That's how I get to work every day, except for when it's really rainy or snowing, then I take the bus.
We take public transportation here to the senior center to volunteer.
Usually just getting to and from classes at OCC or just for recreation, going out to shop at Somerset or explore downtowns like Royal Oak and Birmingham.
Public transportation is about community.
For more information, go to oakgov.com/Oakland Transit.
And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm your host, Kevin McIntosh. West Bloomfield High School's Literary Garden is making a local impact. And did you know May 2025 marks the 10th anniversary of the Literary Garden Club's groundbreaking at West Bloomfield High School. The garden includes plants associated with U.S. authors and their works. To give us more information regarding this literary garden, with me on The Splash Live is teacher from West Bloomfield High School, English teacher, I should say, literary garden creator and club sponsor, Miss Jennifer Tynan. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I want to start off breaking down the most simplest of it all, a literary garden. Define what a literary garden is, please.
It is a garden that has plants from U.S. authors from around the country. So we have Kurt Vonnegut's hydrangeas. We had some of Poe's ivy, but that was the first thing that died. We have mint from Hemingway's short stories that are tied to northern Michigan. We have Walt Whitman's lilac from his birthplace home in New York. We have We have many authors, over 40. That is a lilac from Nathaniel Hawthorne's lilac at the Old Manse in Concord, New Hampshire.
Okay.
So there are over 40 to 50 authors that we've been in contact with whose plants are represented in our garden here in the courtyard at West Bloomfield High School.
Okay, wow. Okay, so I just want to get a little bit more clarity, and then I want to move on to the next one. When you say an author's plant, do you mean like a plant that was represented in one of their books, like one of their favorite plants? Explain that a little bit more.
Okay, so when I talk about Kurt Vonnegut's hydrangeas, there's a very famous picture of Kurt Vonnegut that was taken a year or two before he passed by his daughter. And so that hydrangea doesn't appear in any of his books, but it turns out that Vonnegut loved gardening, and it was likely a way that he coped with the horrors that he saw during World War II. So that's one tie.
Right.
But the mint that appears in Hemingway's short stories that are based in northern Michigan is a mint that shows up in a couple of his short stories. So it's not necessarily a mint that is, tied to him biographically, although it probably is, but it does appear in his fiction.
Okay, nice. I see how this is coming together, and I like it. To me personally, it seems like reading and the zen that you get from being in a garden works perfectly together. I want you to give us a little bit of a story as to how the West Bloomfield Gardening Club and Literary Gardening Club got started in general.
Well, I taught in a classroom without windows for about 18 years.
Oh, wow.
And I love gardening. And so a lot of the books that I teach, especially starting all the way back from when I started teaching, I remember teaching Transcendentalism in my first years of teaching, and you can't teach Henry David Thoreau in a classroom without windows. So I remember taking the kids out my first year of teaching into the nature preserve here behind the high school, and having them study Walden the same way that Henry David Thoreau wrote Walden, which was being out in nature, observing nature, writing about what they saw in nature. And in those early years, I didn't really, I was a new teacher and I was full of enthusiasm and maybe didn't realize what kids might do outside, like climb trees and, try to, walk on the ice. And so I got better and better at that. But then actually growing plants and tending to plants and watching that life cycle of plants, which is one of the things that Nathaniel Hawthorne did while living in renting a room from Emerson at the Old Manse in Concord, and writing about this lilac that he watched go through all the seasons and comparing that to the life cycle of man was really fascinating. To have a piece of that literary history here in the courtyard. We're the only literary garden of its kind in the United States. So.
Oh yes, I love how you're painting this picture and making it make sense with us as well, and that makes the club scene so much more cooler. With me right here live on the Splash, by the way, from West Bloomfield High School, English teacher, literary garden creator, and club sponsor, Miss Jennifer Tynan, just talking about the literary garden, and then what the definition of it is, how it came about. And now I want to ask you essentially, how has it evolved? 10 years. Congratulations, first and foremost. Talk about the evolution over this decade.
Well, it's been an interesting decade because COVID, 2020, the halfway point. And so there was a point when, in those early months, I wasn't even able to come in to the building. And because you have to come into the building to get into the courtyard, and I couldn't even come in to weed the garden, which was tough. But fortunately, it survived. And that has been a real testament to the power of nature, and that, sometimes you have to trust beyond what you're able to do. But, I made a lot of mistakes. The very first thing that I will tell you is that I made a ton of mistakes, and that if I were to do it all over again, I would have just stuck with native plants. But, 10 years ago, I thought that it would humanize the authors to bring plants from their homes for students to study and to see what inspired them. I thought that would bring a real, immediate connection for kids to see these plants and to say, well, Emily Dickinson tended these roses with her own hands, which we do have a Harrison's yellow rose bush out here that Emily Dickinson, it is thought that scholars think that she tended it with her own hands. But now that I know a little bit more, one of the things that we're going to do to mark this 10-year anniversary is to plant a pollinator garden here in the courtyard. And then the Earth Club, which I also sponsor, will be raising butterflies to help repopulate the butterfly populations that have decreased, precipitously in these last decade. So, I've learned a lot. The kids have learned a lot. Some plants have died off. Like I mentioned, Poe's ivy was the first thing that died, but that seems fitting. But yeah, it's been really fascinating, and I have a lot of former students that had ties to the literary garden through the club or through my classes that are writing about the impact that the garden has had on them all these years later, now that they're out of college or maybe still finishing up college. And that has been really, really so special to see the impact that it's had. And I can't wait to share those posts as we're entering this anniversary year.
Yeah. Oh, congratulations on everything going on with that and getting the students involved and having them reflect on it. That's beautiful. If I'm not mistaken, you all have something, a community day that's coming up in May as well. Can you just speak on this briefly?
Yes, so May 17th, I'm so fortunate. We have the Rotary Club has offered to come in, and the West Bloomfield Rotary Club, and we're having an epic day of service to glow up the garden, and we'll be able to plant the seeds. I have nothing but gardening puns available to me. So plant the seeds for a new decade of growth as we move forward. So
keep it coming. I love it. Okay, beautiful. All right, so I would be remiss if I didn't at least talk about this. Earth Day. Any specific special programming activities you all have going on for Earth Day?
You betcha. So the Earth Club and the Literary Garden Club have joined forces, and we are having an Earth Spirit Week next week. So we've got dress-up days, hiker versus biker, and the Lorax Day for Earth Day, and Floral Hawaiian Day, and we're having a thrifted clothes day. And plus there are, like, Thursday is trash can audit day, Wednesday is World Book Day. So we're doing, things in conjunction with both clubs and with Earth Week. There's going to be a courtyard cleanup day on Tuesday. And it's very exciting. We're very happy to have the kids do dress-up days and to promote environmental awareness as well as literacy all throughout the week. And plus, April is National Poetry Month. So it is my week, my month, The kids are excited. And so, we'll be doing lots.
Bring it in. Love that. Appreciate you so much for all the information and your time. Once again, West Bloomfield High School English teacher, Literary Garden Club creator, and club sponsor, Jennifer Tynan. Thank you so much for your time and information.
Thank you for the opportunity.
We appreciate it. If you want to find out more about the West Bloomfield High School Literary Garden Club, you can go to Facebook at WBHS Literary Garden for more information. West Bloomfield is continuously keeping you updated on different scams as well. We were recently became aware of a bogus email targeting your personal information. It was this, we were actually sent an email recently by West Bloomfield resident Mark Kowalski, who stayed ahead of the scam and did not click the link. If you're watching on Civic Center TV, you can see it right here. What looks like a simple message from a local cable provider is a trap looking to get into your device. Now, if you're looking at the contents of the message, you'll see the highlighted email address has nothing to do with Xfinity whatsoever. Then, if you hover your mouse on the link, don't click on it, but put the mouse on the link, you'll see the highlighted image that takes you to a website that is completely separate from Xfinity altogether. Now, while this may not mean that you are being targeted by what is called a phishing scam, it is cause to take some information, some important steps, I should say, to protect your information online. Former West Bloomfield Police Chief Michael Patton explains a bit more of how phishing scams affect your information and what steps you can take to protect yourself.
There's always the very technical kind of scams where you'll get an email that may look very official or maybe something you had expressed an interest in earlier. And all they want you to do is eventually click on a link or open up something else within that email, and it may allow them to gather information off your computer. or they'll ask you a simple question to provide information, and that'll be the information that they need to, further a fraud or a scam. And those are always cautionary tales so you really want to be skeptical about what you get in an email, and don't click on a link, and don't share information. And again, some of these frauds they're very deceptive. They look very legitimate. It could be something that looks like it's coming from your bank, or looks like it could be coming from a person you've been in communication with before, but it's not. And it's the cautionary tale that you should have some skepticism before you open something.
And in the instance that you do just so happen to click the link, if you do just so happen to provide your information, or if you believe you have been scammed, there are steps that you can take to try to hold scammers accountable. As Detective Tim Lillard told Tyler Keefe on the Splash Live.
Well, first of all, don't be afraid or ashamed. Very educated people, all walks of life, fall for these scams, including people in cybersecurity. Report it. That's the first thing. And then go on to ic3.gov, which is the letter I, the letter C, and the number 3.gov. Report it there. That's run by the FBI and other government agencies. And it allows them to collect all this data from around the country, seeing the trends, and then hopefully picking up the case and trying to track them down.
And for more helpful tips on scam avoidance, you can call the West Bloomfield Police non-emergency line. That number is 248-975-9200. That's 248-975-9200. Or if you are on social media, you can follow them on Facebook at West Bloomfield PD. Kego Harbor is gearing up for spring and summer with a schedule full of fun for the entire family. But before the fun began, Kego Harbor's volunteers got to work to prepare the city for the upcoming season. And Civic Center TV's very own reporter, Tyler Keefe, has the story.
A gloomy day didn't stop residents of Kego Harbor from volunteering in their city, getting into the muck to get Kego ready for a beautiful sunny summer ahead. Every year, rain or shine, Mary Burke is one of the volunteers who gives up a weekend afternoon to get her hands dirty helping her neighbors, an effort she says connects her to friends and her home.
When you come down here and you see all those leaves clogging up the canal, and you know that just a couple hours of work with 10 people could, make a big difference like that. It's just kind of fun to get a pitchfork in your hand. I'm a youper, and I was used to working around the water, so I saw the need, and it's a great group of people that work together every year, and I like to volunteer.
Kirsten Sonneville Douglas was, as usual, among the people giving their time and hard work for the cleanup as she begins her busy spring and summer of spearheading events, but says it's volunteers like Mary Burke and others that drive summer fun across the heart of the lakes.
We love our community, right? Everyone says Kego's got heart. We really do. I mean, there's no doubt about it when you look at the people that are volunteering and just trying to give back. So they want to make sure that they're making their community better. Mary Burke, I have to give her a shout out. She's always out here with her hat on in the cold, whether it's raining, snowing. The Willow Beach residents will help during the year to kind of help maintain it as well. So I have to make sure we acknowledge them. And then we've got Parks and Rec commissioners. We're all volunteers out here doing the heavy lifting today, literally heavy lifting.
The annual Willow Beach Canal cleanup is the de facto start of the spring-summer calendar for Kego Parks and Rec, but serves a far more important purpose than simply readying the parks for fun and games.
Fran Leaf Park has that pond, but there's a canal that leads out here to Cass Lake, and when the leaves from the winter or the fall in the winter come and get pushed into the canal, then we end up with sewage smell, we can end up with extra critters that we don't want, and then just backing up of that canal.
These are our parks, and we have to start taking care of them if we want to enjoy them, and we don't want the wildlife to, go into peril because we're neglecting what we can do. So, it's a beautiful area, and we have to respect the beautiful land we've been given here in Kego.
Kego's volunteers say a little bit of your time can make a massive difference in the community and hope more people will get involved in continuing Kego Harbor's tradition of tender, loving care amongst neighbors.
We're always looking for younger people to help us because we were saying we're aging out of doing this pretty soon because it's really physical work.
So fun. I joke around that our commission's the fun commission, right? We're the ones that throw the parties. We do this work too. We've got our block parties coming up. We can get some help from the Memorial Day events. And so there's always something to do. You don't have to join the commission. We would love for people to join the commission, but even just giving an hour or 2 hours of their time will really make it a little bit easier for all of us.
There are plenty more ways for you to get involved with Keego Harbor Parks and Rec. Volunteer opportunities all throughout the spring, the summer, and the fall. Learn more ways to get involved on Facebook at KH Parks and on KeegoHarbor.org. At Willow Beach, I'm Tyler Kieft, Civic Center TV.
Thank you for that story, Tyler. And once again, plenty of events and volunteer opportunities in Keego Harbor for the current spring and upcoming summer seasons. If you are interested, curious, want to find out more, visit their Parks and Recreation page on Facebook at KH Parks for more information. I know you are near your phone, so if you are not driving, make sure you keep up with Civic Center TV West Bloomfield on all of our digital platforms. If you're watching on civiccentertv.com, you can watch, or you can go ahead and get your smartphone out and scan this QR code. It will send you a link to all of our social media. But we are on Facebook at Civic Center TV 15, YouTube, Instagram, and X, formerly Twitter, at Civic Center TV as well. And of course, civiccentertv.com. I'm your host, Kevin McIntosh. We're live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.